Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, West Coast Weather Watch. Today is October 10th, and right now we're going to look at the eclipse forecast coming up on October 14th. This is going to be an annular solar eclipse. It's not going to completely block out the sun, even in the best locations, about 89% obscuration. It'll be viewable from all states except for Hawaii, however, as a partial eclipse. So we're going to take a look at the forecast here coming up, and we're going to take a look at what that's going to look like for different locations. You can also see forecast cloud cover here by Eureka National Weather Service. Not great viewing across a lot of the coastal areas here. You can see a lot of cloud cover up in the 90 percentiles here, and there is even rain chance during this period as well. Better chances, of course, the further you go east, especially east of the Sierra Nevada, across portions of Nevada also. But we'll go ahead and take a look at that here in a moment. So let's go ahead and check in with where this eclipse is going. You can see this is where the main annular eclipse is going to occur. You can see Pacific Daylight Time 9:20, 9:25 across Nevada. Then you switch to Mountain Daylight Time here across Utah and New Mexico as this tracks down across Texas and eventually over the Gulf of Mexico. So now we're looking at the morning of Saturday the 14th, and this is a simulated water vapor loop on the GFS, hot off the presses, and you can see this cloud cover over Oregon and California, and I keep hoping that every day that I check on this that you're going to get some break in the clouds here. The best chances right now is across some of Nevada, and if you were to go down across some of Arizona and off into New Mexico too, you'd probably have better chances of viewing this eclipse. But right now it's showing some pretty good cloud cover across a lot of western Oregon and even some of Nevada and northeast California as well. So we're going to be watching this day by day, and I'll continue to do these updates. I'll probably do them daily until the actual eclipse occurs. But let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures. Temperature wise shouldn't be too bad. If you go out there across some of Nevada here, you're probably going to be in the 50s, maybe even up towards 60 degrees for some locations. So it's not going to be too cool out there unless you're across some of the higher terrain. You should be doing okay, and especially down across Utah and some of New Mexico and Texas, you're going to be a nice and comfortable temperatures about the time the eclipse is occurring. This is looking at the simulated infrared satellite imagery on the European. So right now we're looking at October 12th, the morning of, and you can see this upper level low here across the Intermountain West. It kicks out of there, and we get some clear skies during the early morning of the 13th, and you see some high clouds start to arrive on the day, October 13th, and then this darn system starts to approach the western coast here right as the eclipse is coming on shore there for Oregon. But you can see that some portions of eastern Nevada might not be too bad, including some portions of eastern Oregon. And remember, you don't have to be right in this band of the direct eclipse here to see some cool stuff here, because it's going to be a partial solar eclipse for many locations. Like even like for Seattle, it's going to block out a lot of the sun at its peak point, even San Francisco and Los Angeles as well. So if you want to camp out down across where there's places where there's not going to be clouds, maybe some of Southern California and Arizona and whatnot, you're going to see still some pretty cool stuff with the partial eclipse. And I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. But looking at the European cloud cover layers, you can see we got low, mid, high, and total. And you can see as of Saturday morning, it shows a lot of cloud cover, even across portions of Nevada here too as well. We'll continue to watch this day by day because the system can slow down and back up, and maybe we'll get a little bit of a break here across some portions. But you can see generally the lower half, the southern half of California, excuse me, including Los Angeles, should be better prepared to view this partial eclipse, as well as portions of Arizona and some of Utah and some of eastern Nevada, where hopefully you can kind of view it there. And who knows, you may even get a little bit of a break in the cloud cover. Some portions of Oregon, Washington, maybe could Seattle break out just at the right time here? Who knows? But there's going to be a lot of clouds around across the Pacific Northwest. Now, the phases of an annular eclipse, you can kind of see the partial eclipse here, and then eventually the moon will take over most of the sun, leaving a little bit of a ring around the moon's shadow there on Earth. And they kind of show it here, a nice image here of what it's probably going to look like here if you can get a clear view of this thing with the cloud cover around. Now, looking at the solar eclipse for Seattle, if I put this in motion, you can see this is the calculated coverage that the moon will have over the sun, and check it out. It's going to block quite a bit of it. You know, you're looking at 80+% there. So it should be quite a striking view there, even for places like Seattle. Hopefully the clouds play nice here coming up. This is for Portland. Let's run that. Look at that. It almost blocks it out. I mean, pretty good action right there, right? Some pretty nice photos would come out of that if we can get those clouds to clear for some areas. This is San Francisco. Check it out. It's going to be on the other side of the sun there and blocking out a pretty good portion of it there too. So it will be quite the scene, even in areas where the sun is, or the moon is not going to block out the entire sun. This is Los Angeles. Play it through here as well. And you can see it's going to be an interesting sight when you do get this partial eclipse there, even for Los Angeles and places a little bit further south. Las Vegas, check it out. You can see blocking off a pretty good portion of that sun there, and probably better viewing down there as well. Looks like Vegas right now forecast to be pretty cloud free. So it's going to be an interesting view of things there on Saturday morning about 9:29 a.m. on the strip there down in Las Vegas. This is looking at, if you want to go to Florence, basically that would be blocking 89% of the sun. So it's going to be, the moon is going to be flush over the sun there. You're just going to see a ring around the moon's shadow as you're viewing it, if we can get a break in these clouds here. So kind of interesting stuff here. They've got all kinds of good detailed information that you can go to. You can just Google all kinds of stuff, and NASA does a pretty good job covering it as well. Now, this is what it'll look like at the maximum point. You can kind of see the moon transfer over the sun, and you can see the ring doesn't completely block it out, but there's going to be some cool images out there. I'm sure all the great photographers will be out there with their high-tech equipment out there trying to get some of the best images, but should be quite the sight here if you can see that ring around the moon there perfectly set up. But yeah, anyway, hopefully, you know, I'm kind of hemming and hawing there a little bit because I wish the cloud cover was going to work out a little bit better here for portions of the Pacific Northwest and Northeast California and Nevada, but there's still time for it to change. You know, we're still, what, 4 days out here, so cross your fingers and maybe we'll get some good eclipse viewing after all. We'll go over this forecast again tomorrow, and hopefully we have a trend in the right direction with some of these clouds. Other than that, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again in tomorrow morning's briefings for both California and Pacific Northwest. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll talk to you guys later.